Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Adrian Stewart. I am the Louisiana Swamp Rat coming to you here from the countryside of New Zealand, Mangawai Town. Hey, I just wanted to add a little addendum and a big thanks to Greg Osuri of Akash Network, who is going to be leading the AI world with the new GPUs that are coming out. The demand for data has never been more pressing, and with Akash's implementation of this new hardware that would have been here a long time ago, but the hardware has just been in high demand. But what it's going to do is it's going to allow people who have high demands for data, cloud storage usage, that's my son, to connect in a really efficient way and to really use lots of data and get it and suck it in big, huge American-sized ways. And also a shout out to ElonTrades for hosting. He set up a place for us to do the interview. So thanks, Elon. I know that you and Greg have been friends for years, just like I have been with him, and we're buddies. So everything's gravy. So big, is there something on my shoulder? Sorry. Big shout out to Elon Trades. So with Akash, you know, it hit highs of say $8, maybe went a little above 8 for a brief little second or two, but it went down, I think it went to like 16, 20 cents or so in the last several months or last year at the kind of the bottom. It's sitting around 27 cents or so. In my opinion, and you know, I've got my own opinions about things, but from where I'm sitting and seeing that we're now about this, the interview was done about 2 weeks ago, and we're about a month away from Akash being taking a huge step into being basically an entirely new platform with GPUs. So I would be looking for possible, theoretical, likely, hopeful, serious price action and interest in Akash. So that's about a month away now, and a big shout out to several people. The biggest is ElonTrades, because he provided the environment for Greg and I to just sit and chill. And Greg's super. We just my only regret is we talked a little bit before at this cafe before, but everything, like, it wasn't rehearsed. I even say in the interview, he's like, well, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, well, let's just be spontaneous. So so we just kind of let it flow. And actually Greg surprised me with some stories and some stuff that I didn't know. So that's why I like doing interviews, and I like to let people talk, and I try to talk about 2% of an interview. Oh, there's Greg right there messaging me. Fucking how funny is that? Anyway, totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah, so the people I want to thank so the interview was spontaneous, and that's the way to go. And I like to listen in interviews. I don't want to be talking too much, because you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear about the people I'm interviewing, because they got good stuff to say. So the second person I need to thank, or want to thank and want to promote, is Greg's messaged me again, is Jiva Jimenez, and he gave up his entire afternoon, and he came and videoed everything, set it all up, got the light right, has these two mega expensive cameras, and we got two angles, one on me, one on Greg. And so you can, his Instagram is Jiva Photos, and that's Jiva Photos. And he's on Instagram and Facebook there too. and he's technically a wedding photographer, but if you need him for videos or pictures or anything, reach out to him and say, hey, I saw the Louisiana Swamp Rat, and he said that you're the man, because he is professional, super duper dude, easy to work with, great guy, great skills, great tech. He doesn't do video editing. So my producer buddy in Hawaii, who does HBO shows and stuff, he's a big dude. He's important. He's important. He might not look important. He might look a little suspect, but he's really qualified. I guess I look suspect too, but I think I'm qualified. But you know, I'm not gonna bullshit you on anything. But anyway, so his son offered to edit it, because he's a super editor and real creative genius, and a fucking punk too, but I love him anyway. So anyway, he's Shanked the Tank, and I don't know, I'd like to plug him, but I don't know where to plug him. So and I don't know if he's doing professional stuff like out in the world and stuff, but you know, it's always good to thank the people who help you and be grateful and give them credit. So Shanked the Tank, full creds to you. So anyway, 6 minutes is too much to fucking talk as an addendum. This should have been about 1 minute, but I'm a loudmouth American. So anyway, and I'm a clean-headed American. I just got tired of hair. I fucking hate hair. It's stupid. So anyway, clean. I'm gonna get skinny too. I'm really fat. I get skinny. I'm tired of being fat. So I hope you liked the video with Greg and I, and you know a lot more about Akash, and I hope everybody is buying the fuck out of Akash, because it's like now's the time. You buy the fear, you buy the lows. I did get everybody to buy at $7, and I'm a dick and fucking ruined lives, and I'm sorry. And I you know, markets do what they do. Anybody who held any alt over the last year and a half has just been ass fucked and raped. So it's just what it is. So gotta sell sometimes, settle a loss. But anyway, or you can just hold through the ups and downs. But all right, well, I'm gonna shut up, and hope you love the video. And thanks Greg, thanks Elon, thanks Shank, thanks Jiva, you're the best. I did all this for you guys. And also, if you've made it this far, I think most of my following on Twitter came from my Akash days, is ADRIAN AKT Akash. And now I'm the Midas Mega Bull, Ethereum layer 2. So, and you know, price on that's fucking tank. But look, Illuvium, I've got Illuvium. It went to almost $2,000, and it's $40 now. So show me an alt that hasn't been fucking ass raped, and I'll show you oceanfront property in Arizona. Love you, bye. So, hey, this is, I'm Adrian Stewart, Louisiana Swamp Rat, here with my buddy Greg Osuri from Akash Network, AKT. And we've known each other for about over 2 years now. And I just wanted to get together with you to get an update. And I always get people, what about Akash? What about Akash? What's going on with Akash? Because my Twitter following, most of it, a lot of it had to do with Akash and Cosmos. So I've got a lot of people who are involved in Cosmos and Akash, and I've kind of gone in a little different direction, but I've always kept my eye on you guys, and tons of friends and family still hold massive amounts of Akash. So thanks for getting together with me, and thanks for agreeing to talk and share your knowledge and love for Akash. So welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's amazing how long we've come together, you know, through the ups and downs. And I think we're at a cusp of just a gigantic leap with the space in general. I think it's a really good time to reconnect.
Right. Yeah, I know that you were working on Akash. I met you, I guess, in early 2021, February, I believe. But the Overclock and Akash had been going for years before that. And so I was really early, because it's 2 years later, and Akash is still this growing, budding, blossoming flower that has picked up a lot of speed and a lot of abilities. And as you say, she's about to open wide.
Yeah.
So let me do this for people who may not be too familiar. Can you just give a brief overview of what Akash is and what it does? Why did you start it? What are you trying to achieve? What's happening?
Yeah, I think to get there, let's go back to my childhood, right? Really, when I was young, how the journey began, what eventually led to Akash, right?
Okay.
It's very ingrained in my existence, on this planet.
Okay.
So I learned to code in India, and I started building software before the internet. So we learned software using books, very literally. I couldn't afford a computer, right? So I would borrow books from the library. I would read and practice and go to a computer center and practice. That's how I learned how to code. And I was starting to build software before the internet, and the way I shipped software to my people was using floppy disks or like CDs that they invented, but using disks, right? So there was an inherent limitation as to how many people you could reach, right? Again,
Right.
limitation reigned in like human capacity, right? And then the internet came, and it fundamentally changed the way I could deliver software. No longer I'm building like software I would copy, but I would make the software and put it on this computer and connect the computer to the internet. Anybody that can connect to the computer can have access to the software. Obviously, home computers are limited in like data connection, right? You need more stronger connection. So in order for that, you put this computer, you buy a bigger computer, put it in a data center. So that the internet era, it suddenly gave me access to about 20 million people, all the way from like few people like mail, right? So it's inherently scalable in terms of reach, and the process took really essentially about a month or two to build the server. It took a lot of money to build the server and ship it, but it was so worth it because I had this unlocked majority. But it had a huge problem. It was too hard to scale, add more servers in this data centers. And so, but that didn't stop people. People that kickstarted the whole dot-com boom of 2000s. People bought a lot of things. So in order to solve the problem, you end up buying a lot more than you need, because you need too much buffer, right? So usually you over provision by 5 times than what you need, because you don't know how internet is growing. It's growing really fast. You get 1 billion people by 2020. Right? And a lot of companies fail. And these companies that fail, they have all these data centers they built, the service. All those consolidated into data center companies that would like lease space for you if you want to put your machines. And some companies like Amazon and Google figured out how to resell that excess capacity and created a cloud industry. Right? And the thing they had going on really well for them compared to the old era is how quickly you can scale. So how quickly you can scale. As a developer, all I need to do is like click a few buttons and I get a server. I don't have to like go buy the server, configure it. It's very fast. That led to companies like Netflix being born. Without Amazon and Google, Netflix wouldn't exist. Dropbox wouldn't exist. All these hyperscale companies would not exist without getting access to that level of scale that quickly. And obviously, it's very valuable. So a lot of things moved to the cloud, and Amazon's and Google's build this massive moat in terms of amount of services they can provide as managed, right? And AWS alone is worth $500 billion in terms of value, just as one unit, and they have 90% margins for certain product lines. Very high profit, high value. Well, with power comes corruption. So the downside of the model is, well, it got expensive really, really quickly. A lot of things were happening in the cloud. And the other downsides was these companies would, wokeism, all these sort of like political biases would dictate a lot of their actions. So some of them were like canceling people just because of their political beliefs. Some of them would just, because they didn't like crypto, they would concern these people would just ban whole industries, right? And some of them would like ban based on who they can make deals, especially with AI. Like you're a smaller company, like YC company, or like just funded company without sufficient sort of like compute, you can't just get them on these cloud providers, right? So they just cancel you outright. So you get like this very like, and on top of that, they start like doing all kinds of hostile like market behavior against open source companies, and all there's like a lot of legal battles. The U.S. government finally decided to investigate AWS for their malpractices. All these bad things come with this like beautiful like concentration of power.
Right.
So we kind of knew that, and like me as a software engineer, I've been building software for a long time, and all this while use the cloud and use the data centers. I've been through this whole journey, and it became very obvious in like 2020, around 2013, 2012 timeframe, right when like the cloud was getting very powerful. Me being a San Francisco engineer and knowing the value of this and like seeing this in the forefront, quickly realized that we need to start building alternate. Not only me, a lot of other people like me. Right? So there's this whole like revolution in like open source world as well as academia on new ideas and how do you like better distribute resources away from the cloud and give you better technologies that can run on any cloud. Right? So for the industry, we have this like revolution called container native revolution. So that's when technologies like Docker or Kubernetes, I keep using this word, were born to take the power away from the cloud. Still early, and I started focusing on those set of technologies there. So I made some contributions. They're still currently in use by Kubernetes, by Amazon Web Services, and my code is still running. We use them, and HashiCorp, Terraform, all these like things I was very, very early on to understand. And then you had this whole academia that was researching on something called a super cloud. This was in 2015. Cornell published a paper presenting an idea where you could take all these like open source technologies and put them on this like build a new cloud provider that spans across different providers. And we thought the idea was incredible, right? The super cloud idea. And we wrote a paper that was published in this March 13th on 2018, titled Akash Network, the world's first decentralized decentralized compute network, and we introduced Akash super cloud. Mm-hmm. What we did was we took the idea of this Cornell idea and we added a marketplace component and we made it completely open source. And in order for open source code is great, in order for it to really thrive and sustain itself, you need to have a network component where you can actually, there's economic activity happening. So you have economic activity happening on a network, it becomes self-sustaining.
Right. So
open source self-sustaining, and obviously it's too powerful it's too powerful and it's too brittle if one single company controls it. Okay, right? Because that power leads to corruption, and that's a natural course since we were apes, essentially, right? And it's very important for this to be decentralized, right? So that's really the paper we wrote, and 5 years later, here we are with Akash, and we built and launched the platform 2 years ago. Okay? So we're very, very, very early in this journey of a decentralized marketplace that's essentially a super cloud. And now the term super cloud is famous. Everybody's talking about super cloud in the enterprise. Now, you Google super cloud, you'll see Forbes, you'll see all these people talking about super cloud. But we wrote a paper in 2018, and that's published. And we're going to do an event this Saturday. It's called Super Cloud Super 5. We're going to do 5 NFTs, and that's a piece of history, right? 50th year anniversary.
Nice.
We're going to drop it.
Sorry, I'm going to be gone. I'll be on a plane when that's happening. You got some people.
It'll be all virtual. People come together and celebrate 50th year of us publishing the paper. Because it took 3 years to build a network and ship it. Now in the second year, and it's a long journey. Right? It's got a huge roadmap. Right? We have delivered 4 mainnets. Right? Each mainnet we delivered new capability. And the first phase is really get to parity with the regular cloud. Talking about Amazon, we don't have all the pillars yet to go and replace Amazon. we have the most important. We have compute first, then we got storage, being able to store data, then we got discovery, being able to discover using IP addresses. Without IP addresses, it's very hard to discover. Now we have GPUs.
Coming.
We have an testnet.
Well, they're going. Yeah, they're testing now.
We're in testnet right now. People are actually onboarding the GPUs on the Akash network.
And
People are using. Great. We have A40s. We have RTX 3090s, and we have a lot of other GPUs. And we're doing this massive testnet very soon, like the Akash testnet we did.
Right.
When we launched Akash, it was very successful. So we know how to get more supply.
Right.
It's working, it's functioning, and now we're going to scale the hell out of it to this testnets. And we're going to do hackathons to onboard a lot of applications. So by the time we launch main in 45 days or so, less than 45 days, we're going to have a lot of this like already working on Akash, and I think it's just really this cusp. And the way we prioritize to build features, we didn't like every feature we launched, we had a set of people we want to test with. But we just did launch in like we didn't take like this build doesn't take a long time. We didn't go dark for like 5 years to build. We built it in 3 years. Right? So the first version, and we kept adding to it. So we've been very like focused on like having a hypothesis and being testing the hypothesis and improving and applying a very scientific methodical approach on how we're like building the super cloud. Mm-hmm. And now Akash is a network of community of developers. About 280 people build Akash. Overclock Labs, the company, employs about 18 people. So 90% of people that build Akash come from outside the company. Right? So now with the new economics, you go to our GitHub /Akash network. There's a repo called Community. I'll talk about how there are these self-organizing community groups that work on each function of the network, all the way from setting a roadmap to building it to implementing it. And there is a bounty mechanism where developers get paid in tokens for building features. So we're able to attract 90% of developers from outside the company. It's a lot of sort of like, that's the kind of stuff that scales. That's the kind of stuff internet is really good at, crypto is really good at, is incentive distribution and the network effects we call it. In order to build a truly decentralized network, you need a truly decentralized workforce. You cannot do it as a company or labs, and that's very limiting in terms of how much you can achieve. It's very, very important for us, in order for us to really succeed, we have to decentralize our core development. Now, tomorrow, Overclock Labs, for whatever, Gensler goes nuts and do whatever, right? Something happens, right? It should be okay. Akash network will run. It has figured out how to self-organize. It's getting better and better and better, right? And now 10 companies build Akash. They're all incentivized to build Akash, right? On top of Akash. Why? Because I always had a thesis. If you have 99 things to do, if you have 100 things to do 99. Give one opportunity for someone else to solve the problem and extract value. That way you build a network. So we didn't do a client ever. Our client was API. It was not humanly usable, right? And we did that on purpose because we have 4 different clients that were built that's not based on Akash. And all these clients are now incentivized to bring users to Akash. Fleek, for example, it's a venture funded company. They are building a client for Akash. It's really well done. They raised $25 million to do it. Right? So they're like Speron and CloudBoss and Praetor, all these companies now building the clients for Akash. And Overclock Labs is optimizing clients for machine learning, right? So for AI tests. Because now it's all about distribution. We have the models, we're working really well, right? It's all about getting the users getting demand. And now we're like perfect sort of like shift because GPUs were our key delivery because we have clear demand, validating demand, and also qualitative observation market. And looking at the data, AI is going to take off. There's no doubt at this point. And that future is exactly, getting GPUs exactly at the time of the year. So I think it's great.
So everything's coming together at the right time.
Right.
You're getting everything together on your end. The GPUs are coming in. It's go time for Akash.
It's go time. Real product, real user.
This is what everybody's been waiting on. Yeah, this is the moment that everybody's been.
And the best part
Working to come.
is we're coming from a position of strength. We're only ones with A100s and H100s. Nobody else has this. We're a market, obviously. We're like a supermarket for these chips. Everybody with A100s come to a place and just sell them. That's what we want. They're everything. So, so I think like we're not coming from a position of, hey, we're cheaper. We're coming from a position of strength. We have something no one else has. No one big provider has. Because everybody goes to the big guys first. They run out. Right? So they get super selective on who they want to give to.
That was one of the main things with you guys, which attracted me, was that you wanted to do things differently and in the decentralized manner, and not just do it as the big boys are doing, but the permissionless, censorship-free part of that. It's like counterculture. It's like, don't tell me what to do. Akash is like freedom. For me, I see it as being on the internet like it's a Superman cape. It's like, you're free. With Akash, it's your internet. If you're on AWS, they can shut you down at any point. Like you said, political.
Sovereignty.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they can just stop you. Ethereum's over. If AWS says we don't like crypto, we don't like Ethereum, the Ethereum blockchain's over.
That's one thing, but I think more likely it's more selective resourcing is a bigger problem, right? Like when things go south, like GPU, there's a shortage of GPU. There's a real crisis for GPUs right now, right? And during that time, that behavior is very evident. They're very selective on who they give their chips to. You gotta know somebody and know somebody. You gotta know someone really high up to even get these chips. Right. And we see that firsthand, right? So the question is like, do you want a closed and the auction system is auction, right? Whoever pays the highest, you get. Like, if you think your GPUs are valuable, just pay higher, right? Because then they open. There's no one hiding because of some other thing.
Right.
So less corruption. It's pure market-driven pricing. It could be higher if the value is higher, but you need a pure market-driven approach more than a single company-driven approach, right? Because it's company buying and selectively distributing. So I think markets are the way to optimize resource usage, and that has to be out in the open because it's such an important element of society, right? Like AI is going to fundamentally change everything. You and I are just a year's time. I think we're going to be looking back at this moment and be like, yes, we're going to be thinking about this moment.
Things have changed. Let me ask you this. It's my understanding that with AWS, for instance, if you're using their services and for whatever reason it gets cut off or stopped or dropped, then that's it, and you lose the connection. With Akash, just tell me if I'm right, because this is how I always thought about it and visualized it, but with Akash, if you've got service and that provider goes down, it picks up in the service continues with another provider, right? Is it like that where there's like a backup and a backup versus not having backup services?
Yeah, so with Akash, you're right. So Akash makes it really simple to switch providers. You still, as a developer, need to switch that automatically because each application has different ways to switch, different switches to press the sequence of switching it up.
Mm-hmm.
But Akash makes it extremely simple for you to be able to do that. Whereas Amazon makes it a little harder because the idea of a super cloud is moving the responsibility away from the cloud provider to a larger, higher plane where you have a lot of control and it doesn't go down. So that part runs in the blockchain. So now the companies they're like smart contracts that's looking for things, and they'll be like, look, this application went down because for provider shut down, right? They'll take that application automatically and put it somewhere else for you. Right? It'll have some downtime, but that's fine because you're
You can just pick it right back up.
Yeah, pick it right back up. It'll be like a 30-second downtime, which is fine, but you're not going to lose much. There are ways you can do that. That's the next level automation we're getting there. We're not there yet. Our roadmap, if you look at it, really focused on getting the core, the most important foundational elements from a resourcing standpoint first, and then we're going to go do automation stuff. And that we saw within like a year's time or something. All that is done in the public. That's the best part of open source. Anybody can with the kind of way we scale engineering teams. I think we figured out how to really recruit people. I think we're getting like 15 people a month now, something. Like last month we got like 15 new developers or something like that. And don't quote me on it, but I think that's a number. Wow. Get the charge.
What's the thing about AI that most excites you, or applications that you can see right now, not a year from now, but right now? What kind of applications or directions or abilities does AI offer that excite you the most?
Like things that I use every day, myself as a programmer and as a CEO of a company. Right? The way I use AI every day is, as a programmer, I can write 10 times more code with the same amount of time spent.
That's pretty cool.
Like it literally is really
10x?
10x. I think easy.
Okay. And
yeah, the other day, I think some developer in a company wanted something. I coded the whole thing up in like 3 days. I was like, oh, you want this thing? Not 3 days, like 3 hours, right? 3 hours. Like I wrote the whole program and gave it to them.
What are you using to produce these results? Which AI program?
GPT-4 now, which is OpenAI. Not GPT-4, I think GPT 3.5, but I think it's ChatGPT. Basically integrated directly into my Visual Studio, which is the editor. So I would just simply write the comment. I would be like, hey, this piece of code should do this, and it would just write the code for me. And it's just so, you still write the logic as what you want, but the production, the mundane act of doing it, it makes you so much faster. I think makes me wonder where humanity will be in years' time with this amount of productivity. I don't think there's going to be job loss. There's going to be job loss, but I don't think it's going to be a doomsday scenario. I think we're just going to produce more. We're like the species that just want more all the time. We never was be like, oh, you're going to work more because you see more possibilities, right? So we're going to go to fucking Mars. This is going to accelerate productivity of things. There's also some estimation that speed of AI, the speed of chip production is also going to increase by this, or some indications. So there's a lot of sort of indication that the supply will catch up eventually to demand. But everything that's a new oil. I think GPUs are going to be the new oil. Right? You're going to have so much power, and whoever has GPUs are going to have the power. Think about it. You haven't even touched AGI yet. So anyway, before I get there, generative code is number one sort of my use case that I'm most excited about.
Right.
Second most excited is generative text in general. Right. So when I write emails, I'll just say it what I want. It'll do the thing for me. I really like summarizers. Right. I really like LLMs, or large learning models. Right. Summarizers will just summarize the text for me. White paper I want to read, I'm like, I don't want to read the whole thing, summarize it for me, right? It'll give me the bullet points that I need to know. I think I have, there's a lot of AI I'm incorporating into my own life that as I learn about it, but right now generative use cases are the most exciting things for me. I also, and I'm seeing all these bits and pieces that are very impressive or amazing. AI is really good at recollecting knowledge, right? Really good at looking back what it learned and giving you what it did. So it's a way amazing, way better than a human being can ever even fathom in terms of recollection, right? Medicine's all about memorizing stuff. That's what doctors do, just memorize the shit. And every time you have a symptom, they just try to recollect. The good doctors are the ones that can recollect more knowledge. So the use cases in diagnosis blow my mind with AI. Mind blowing. I saw an example where some dude's dog was super sick, and the vet, and they all did all these tests. The vet, was like recommending something, and he input this test into ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT gave diagnosis, and that actually saved the dog because the doctor was about to do something else. Because this guy asked the doctor, "Well, how about this thing?" It's going to change medicine. I think people are going to live longer. I think we're going to go to Mars. I mean, I have like this, like way faster than you think. And the next scary thing that not scary and exciting, whatever you want to put it, is AGI,
which is
artificial general intelligence.
okay.
And so that is when you can't distinguish between a human or a machine. And that whoever has AGI, there are two things they could do. They could give it to the world, or they could keep it to themselves and become the richest person, richest man in the world. There's a heavy incentive to keep it to yourself. You can do things that you can play the markets. You can do whatever to get extremely wealthy very quickly. And it gives you so much power and force, right?
So you've got one cooking up in your back room, right?
So I don't know who has AGI. Like they say OpenAI, we don't know. We're not there yet. But that will fundamentally change. And but that's I think it's way closer than what people anticipate. And there's a joke in the AI community about who comes faster, AGI or self-driving. Like self-driving is 99% there. But I think AGI is going to find out. So it's very exciting, I think, for the next 1 to 2 years in AI. And all this excitement is going to excite people, and AI is going to be, and AI is going to capture value. I think it's just going to, that's going to be how the markets are, right? We clearly saw what happened with Pepe. Degeneracy is alive and well. So I think like assets that are way aligned to capture that is going to have a very fun time.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be the next few months and years for the Akash are going to be great. I can't wait to see what
It's going to give us a lot.
I want to see everybody on the Akash, like everything.
Yeah.
Many people, we know that there's so many crypto projects that use Akash for all the reasons it does. But for me, it's going to be rewarding, exciting, personally, to see Akash like is the foundation across a wider array of industries. And like, what are you using? Are you using AWS? No, Akash,
Yeah.
And I know that's where you guys are headed over time.
I think, I don't know if you saw a tweet from AWS, head of blockchain, talking about Akash. I don't Google people talking about Akash. Industry is waking up to a point where big hyperscalers are looking at Akash and finding ways to figure out ways to work with Akash. Publicly, this public knowledge.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's just
so it's not going to be like AWS or Akash. I think it's going to be Akash just as a global standard of how people use computing. Right? I think it's going to be like AWS part of Akash. Right? I think Microsoft part of Akash. Right?
Right.
It'd be funny if Microsoft uses so we work if it'd be funny if Google use Amazon through Akash.
Be pretty,
you can still be on that. That's
be pretty rewarding, that's for sure.
Yeah, everybody wins. The customer, everybody wins, right? It's not about Akash is not about keeping this business out of companies out of business. It's about a more equitable, more market-focused environment, more free market-focused environment. It's all about optimizing power and optimizing wealth, right? I think there's plenty of fish for a lot of them. Right now, with the AI wave, it's going to be the need for compute is going to go excessive. Imagine I can do 10 times. That means I need 10 times more compute as a human being. You know what I mean?
So Akash got 10 times more valuable overnight.
It's going. The need for resources is going to go exponentially crazy. Right. Just what happens when productivity goes up by exponential. Right, that's going to follow through with the resource needs. So I think it's not about, there are going to be two types of people, people that understand the value of AI, and align with it, and by aligning, you get extremely lucky. People are going to call you lucky. You've been in AI for long, but I think it's not luck. It's just aligning with AI, and actually, I think you're going to be, adapting to the ways of the AI and adopting to your life to enhance your life. And there are people that are not going to do that. So
yeah, once you have everything in place, you're saying but in the next year or so, theoretically, you'll have everything in place for the full outlay. Is that what you're saying a while ago?
Oh, to reach parity?
Yeah.
To replace fully. I mean, that don't take years. But we're focusing on features that gives us the most value first, like GPUs, for example. Gives most value. People are willing to make concessions to use Akash because there's a resource that they value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I go to an enterprise company like Cisco or like Walmart and be like, hey, can you want to move from Microsoft or whatever to Akash? They need certain things. The Microsoft gets Akash is not close to there. Right? It's very hard to build. And that's why it's important in order for us to get there, we need a workforce, you can say a decentralized workforce that's incentivized to build very fast, arming with AI that they can actually code really fast now. So I think open source systems are going to gain quite a lot from the AI revolution. More people can do more now, and we're seeing that in our code base itself. The amount of code people are producing is gaining like really, really fast. You can see that. Go to Akash Network and go to the GitHub/Akash.network. You can see the code. You can see all the activity, right? And we have these, something called special interest groups, like people working on economics and people working on the chain upgrades and people working on adding these GPU features. All these different groups that meet every month once, and they share progress, everything online. All the videos are online. All the transcripts are easy to read and summarize well. Yeah, we're using a lot of this to create content and create history, so that anybody coming tomorrow and want to build one has the entire history, and they can be summarize Akash for me using another AI to summarize all this history for you. So it's and you need the kind of tools to onboard a lot of people, because now I'm a new developer coming here. I want everything to happen in this code base. I want to know the history, right? So I can get on board with it. We're seeing that all that stuff is happening, and I think open systems that remove boundaries to exchange value are going to be the biggest winners if they know how to leverage this new tool chain that is just going to be it's going to fundamentally shift the paradigm as to how we work.
And you're making it easier for people to onboard all the time, correct?
The key to building a community is to make your onboarding as effective, efficient as possible.
Right.
So any community member should be onboarding to Akash. There's several tracks, engineers, non-engineers, right? And a good incentive system as well. Good incentive system, very good onboarding. I think people figure out magic. We're going to have a master of the coin. We have VP of magic. We're going to have all these roles people play, and make it fun. Right? Make it fun. Have culture.
Skynet culture.
The Skynet culture.
You want to talk about that? Go on, give us the road to Skynet. How do we get from Akash to Skynet, Mr. Terminator?
So, I don't know how many people know Akash in Sanskrit means the sky. So the name really came because sky is where the clouds meet. So Akash is where the clouds meet. So the cloud of cloud. That was how it was named.
Right.
I thought it was a good name. I think it's a great name. But Akash also means because Akash means the sky. Akash Network now becomes Sky Network. You cut that short, it becomes Skynet. I don't know how many of you remember Skynet. But for those of you who don't, Skynet is the AI in Terminator. That eventually leads to very interesting results for humanity.
You mean killing everybody and building killer monsters? So is that really what you got going on in your
No,
basement?
but it's just correlation.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a correlation. But the good thing is this kind is owned by the people, not companies.
That's a big difference.
Right? So people will decide, govern using AKT token. Whatever governance decides, whatever resources. Well, if government wants to like censor, Akash is censorship resistant, but if governance feels like they have to censor machines, they probably will censor machines. The point is, people control it, not a company. You don't have to have OpenAI and Sam Altman saying that, oh, let's pause AI. No, these people should be the ones that decide that. And has to be decentralized, has to be in the hands of the people because it's too important to control the companies.
Right.
The fuel for AI is GPUs. If you take away GPUs, AI will not exist. And whoever controls GPUs controls the world. Right now, there's access export restrictions with GPUs. Biden heavily controls American GPU exports. You can't sell GPUs to China, for example. Okay?
But can Americans buy? Do they come from other places? Are we restricted, or is it just restricted going out from America to other specific?
As an
countries?
American citizen or a resident, you cannot work for a Chinese company in advanced microchip manufacturing or sell advanced microchips to China. You can't work in China. You can work anywhere else in advanced microchip. Overnight, Biden killed the Chinese chip industry using a signature about 9 months ago. And so they are, it's chaotic right now for the Chinese chip industry. They're scrambling. But I think there are rumors saying that there's a homegrown, so they stole ASML designs. That's a big deal. Biden did this executive order because they actually stole the IP from this company called ASML, which is based in Netherlands, that has a software to make these chips used by TSMC, which is the Taiwanese corporation, which is used by NVIDIA, which is an American corporation. This whole supply chain of chips, and the silicon it comes from everything. If you look at the whole supply chain, ASML is where the fabs are made. Right? The fabs are the ones that make these chips. So Chinese stole that fab design and replicated it in China because they know they need chips. Everything needs chips. Missiles, for example.
So they just stole and took. They took it.
They stole it. That pissed off, obviously, America.
Everybody.
And everybody.
The people who had the technology.
Right. They're pissed off. And then since there's been a Cold War for chips with China.
Was the executive order in retaliation to the Chinese theft?
Yes.
It wasn't about restricting IP or we don't want China to have that. It was you stole and this is the payback?
Yes, it was a retaliation. That was justification.
Okay. Glad that came up. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Cold War with China on chips. Because Chinese were also selling chips to Russians too. And you need chips for the missiles, right? Without chips, missiles have no guidance.
Right. So
there's a whole export ban to China, North Korea in general, the countries you can't sell advanced microprocessors to. So Chinese are creating this whole alternative industry with chips and they're scrambling. They're in deep trouble, I think, without the chips because they can't make new missiles, new weapons. Right?
So did their ability to create these get stopped too?
Yeah, that's why they don't want to invade China, Taiwan, because TSMC is based in Taiwan. They want TSMC. TSMC has the capacity. And that's why Biden incentivized, I think they gave them a lot of money to move TSMC to US. The problem with moving to US is going to cost 5 times more for that fab in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So the cost of GPUs are going to go high, while the demand is going to go high. So it's going to be crazy for the next few years with this geopolitical scenario. And China is scrambling. They want these chips, right? Everybody wants them. So they're just being very aggressive with all their actions towards China, toward Taiwan. They are trying to weaken America with funding to Russia, giving them weapons, and Russian war is draining American resources. And I mean, who knows what might happen in geopolitical scenario, but it's not looking that great because they're getting strangled right now, those chips. Those chips really did a lot of damage to Chinese.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what the future holds.
Well, thanks for that. That was an inside story backdrop on that.
Yeah. Chips are the new oil, trust me. Whoever has the chips has the power.
You're running.
Everybody knows. Everything is chips.
And is America the leader in that area now?
Yeah. NVIDIA is based on American company.
Right.
NVIDIA makes the most advanced chips for AI, hands down. No other company comes close. NVIDIA is the 6th most valuable company in the world for this one reason. They hold the key for AI.
And I'm not going to invest in it. We're not talking about investing, but just speculatively, would you see the chip industry market cap values going crazy?
The market is going to go 9x in the next 10 years. It's estimated to, right now it's about $40 billion. It's estimated to be $400 billion but in 9 years, right? Just the market size.
Gotcha.
And the chip company will be, this is just markets, how much sales, right? Of course, then you do multiples on top of that on whatever revenues NVIDIA will make. And then you have your speculation number, I suppose, right? So I think chips are you gotta see what ARM and AMD is going to do. What makes NVIDIA special is they have large on-chip memory. So A100s has 80 gigs, H100s has 120 gigs, right? Because AMD chips have more faster processors, and less memory. They're really good for mining crypto. Whereas NVIDIA is really good for mining, for training and machine learning, that sort of thing.
Right.
So not all GPUs are going to be equal. You got to make sure that where you're looking at what kind of chips they are, right? Not just because somebody has X amount of GPUs, that doesn't make them valuable, right? It's like saying I have 10 coins. I'm like, what coin do you have? Each chip is different. You know what I mean? So I hate these stats of this network. Oh, we have 70,000 GPUs. I'm like, what kind of GPUs? How many A100s?
What's that?
So the difference is 1,000 times or 400,000 times faster than so each 1,000 chip, each chip is probably A100 is probably 1,000 times faster than a regular chip. Right?
Yeah, so just spitting out. Well, I've got this. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah, right.
What are the specs? What are the details?
Yeah, my 3-year-old niece likes 10, 5 cents instead of $1, right? It's just bullshit. Anyway, so the chips are going to be scarce, and the demand is exponentially gaining. And I think it's prime for a secondary market to exist because of this scenario. It's not hard to see how how arbitrageurs are going to take advantage of this opportunity.
Gotcha. And just to backpedal a little bit on a broader scale, Cosmos, you built on Cosmos, and it's an incredible blockchain, nearly instant, a few seconds, sends are way under a penny oftentimes. Does Cosmos have any developments coming in cahoots or in partnership with Akash that are going to open up any new doors or pathways with them too?
So Cosmos, you got to understand, is a network of different blockchains. It's not a single network. And it's very important it exists that way because each of these blockchains are like countries, right? They have their sovereignty. They have their own laws. They have their own tokens, their own values, their own security too, own armed military, right? So it's hard to start a country,
Yeah.
It's easier. So people and other chains like Solana's or Ethereum in general, they're just larger countries. Cosmos are more nimble, smaller countries that all figure out how to work with each other really well. That's what Cosmos is about. So it's about what each chain brings to the table. Osmos is about liquidity to Akash. For osmosis, it was really hard to buy AKT.
Mm.
You need liquidity for AKT to have value because that's the security of the blockchain. The higher AKT value, the more secure the blockchain, right? Because in order to attack Akash, you just need to go have more money than the market cap. So then you can just attack or run a validator, like, attack Akash. So the value of the Akash has to always be higher or aligned with the value of the network, and liquidity is important. Now you have smart contract capabilities. Right? Akash doesn't have smart contracts, and it will never have. It may have in the future, but it's not going to be optimized for running smart contracts. It's a cloud marketplace, right? So it needs to be, the less features you have in something is better in terms of performance in general. The more you add, the performance degrades, and more security risk increases, right? Because you have more things that could fail. So generally, you want to keep it nimble. You want to keep it very hyper-focused to do one or two things and not too many things. So we are very reluctant in adding features, and we're very conservative in that way. We're very, every time we add something, we do extremely thorough integration. Right? That's why it never fails. Akash never goes down.
Right.
Never gets hacked. It doesn't do any of the nonsense.
No problems.
No problems.
Not a Solana shutdown.
Yeah, never. Yeah, it's always there, and there's a reason for that, right? And most Cosmos chains are always there. They don't go down. Right. If Cosmos goes down, everything works really well. So Cosmos subscribes to a more decentralized approach of building value. Now the big things we're getting is fiat payments through XLR or Noble chain through USDC. So you'll be able to pay using your credit cards and Stripe integration, right? Because of that.
What's the timing on that?
USDC will be in June. That came through XLR, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means now people can just pay using credit card. And that opens up enormous amounts of doors.
That's an attractive feature.
And people can use MetaMask. That's 30 million users, right off the door. So you have all that coming up. And all that is through because of alliances and the IBC thing that we have with Cosmos, right? Of course, 30% I think of Cosmos, 30% of Cosmos projects use Akash in some form or the other, right? And that number is growing. The Cosmos runs on Akash, Mars Protocol runs on Akash.
Kava too, yeah.
Kava, a lot of Kava runs on Akash. Almost all major networks use Akash, some form or the other, right? But our biggest volume in compute, but again, crypto industry is very small. You don't see millions, millions of dollars deployed. The industry is so small. There's so few people, right? Cosmos especially is so small. The real value is in AI, right? That's really, I think, it's not hard to see us going 100x revenue in matter of very quickly if we do this right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do. To go on a little tangent here, I've got to share with you some information, which we talked a few minutes before. Thankfully, we didn't talk too much. So I always like to go fresh and spontaneous and get into it. But I've got my friend here filming us. My other buddy was going to be here, and he does. He's a producer for major shows like HBO, and he works in Hawaii, and he's a pretty big deal. Anyway, where I'm going with this is that he spends time at a golf course, and he gets people who come in of high wealth, and some friends of his about a year or so ago, approximately, they're really good at crypto investing and trading, and a year and a half ago, they're sell everything in November when it was time. Elon Musk sold all of his Tesla. That was just get out of the market. Anyway, where I'm going with this is that these group of guys, they're really smart, and they're worth a fuckload of money. And he was talking to them, and they said the most interesting project we see in all of crypto is the Akash network. And so for me, that's it's a huge compliment, and to have people who know what the fuck they're doing and are really successful, and they've gotten together, and for them like the thing in crypto is what you're building. So I just wanted to share that with you and let you know that there's some people who share the vision, like I always did when I read about you and the company and the vision, that there is so much opportunity for here, and I can see it in your pursed lips there that you're excited too. So
I'm thrilled. You have no idea.
I know.
I'm like every day, I'm like just being able to do this, right? It's like just being at the forefront of it and getting the first row seat of this is just amazing.
Well, it's groundbreaking. Like nobody's ever done what you're doing. Nobody's ever done it. So yeah, it's going to take longer. There's going to be problems. Things are going to break. Things aren't going to work. Things are going to be delayed.
Yeah.
But you're still doing it, and I believe in you, and I know you're going to get there. So
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So anything else? We've been talking forever. I know some people.
I can go riff.
I mean, some people who may be in the room can't take long interviews. So anyway, anything else you want to get off your chest?
Let's see.
Share with me.
I mean, so we have a testnet coming up. It's a great way to earn AKT. If you're an Ethereum miner, we are looking to incentivize with you with a testnet essentially. So with your Ethereum rig, you with on Akash to keep a lookout for testnet. I think the URL will be akash.network/testnet, right? So keep an eye out for that. We'll be announcing the testnet very soon. And I want machine learning ideas to come on a decentralized cloud, and we're slowly starting to build this decentralized machine learning stack called the DEML. We're starting to get a lot of interest from people. Decentralized machine learning projects are popping up, right? Which is awesome. Be very careful because there are a lot of grifters and a lot of scams in there, but the ones that I really like are the ones that always be intellectually honest. Decentralized machine learning is extremely complicated. Why? Because these machines, in order to learn, needs to be very, very fast. They're usually the highest and the best chips. So it's very hard to do decentralized machine learning, right? That's why machine learning is very, very centralized. There are companies that are working really hard. These are well-funded companies that are working really hard to achieve decentralized, and they don't have the hype, right? Companies like Jensen, BitTensor, and all these companies, nobody knows them. There are a lot of scams. First scam I saw was crypto GPT. Anyone that uses GPT in their name, just be extremely vigilant, because there are a lot of people using this name. Crypto GPT raised some. They announced they raised like $20 million using, and they only got $500,000 from this like random money market maker or something. They were in like Coinbase, CoinDesk, and all that stuff. And all they did was they put a web app on top of OpenAPI, which anybody can, right? And do this demo on their website. And I think the founder is not even technical. And you go and like ask that bot who made you, say OpenAI made me. Basically bad. And that's a coin. It's a complete scam, right? Everybody outright, like give Zach XBD, you call them out, And there's another project called I don't want to FUD, but it's another project that
Don't say it.
I don't want to FUD any projects,
No.
but I think there are a lot of these projects, right? I mean, crypto GPT is not crypto. Shit. So there are too many of these GPT things that are there. Watch out for like DeFi GPT and all this crap. This is GPT. I think OpenAI also has like a trademark infringement, so they're going after all these GPT name things. But there are a lot of people that using this name and just launching shits. It's becoming a meme at the most, right, at this point. But the real machine learning, and we're trying to create a machine learning stack. Masari happens to be the most trusted source for news, right? Look at Masari, because they're vetting a lot of like the stack, the members of this.
And that Masari guy's here too. One of the
Right, but subscribe to Masari. It's that $24 a month is completely worth it. And read those reports, because that's where they do very strong vetting and they actually give real shit, unbiased stuff. And they look at the stack, look at those reports. Akash comes quite a lot. They write about us every month, and they are very, very direct and very clear about summarizing other players and showing like where things are trending. There's going to be a lot of grifters. Just be careful of these grifters, right? Like, just don't don't put anything that says GPK on it. That's crypto.
Right. But the big thing coming up next is GPUs.
Yes,
on the
GPUs will
mainnet
unlock
in 43.5 days, right?
Correct. 43.5 days. That's the marker. And we want to go big. We want to go. We're going to do one of the biggest testnets we've ever done. Right before, we're going to do one of the biggest hackathons on board a lot of applications. A lot of people are super excited to just sort of just get access to GPUs they don't have access to. So we're not going from an angle that's cheaper. We're going from an angle that you're going to get some access to something that you never had access. So it's an exclusive sort of way to get. It's solving a pain point, not nice to have.
Have you gone away from the price based talking? Because in most times, using Akash versus AWS or so could be half or a third as much. Are you going more for the experience part of it and not really focusing on, well, you can save a ton of money too thing?
I mean, there's that still. You still can save a lot of money for normal things, right? For GPUs, it's a necessity. You don't have any other option. There's no GPUs in the market.
You're running the market. You're running the show.
Yeah, you're the market. Right? There's no way to get GPUs on the cloud. Try it.
Right.
Try getting an A100 from anywhere. They're very gated, and it's just H100s. Forget A100s. H100s, right? Try getting them. Only way to get them is through buying them or through some distributor who's going to give it to you. If you there's a supply crunch for H100s. Akash is the only place, so I don't think it's not going to be cheap. Obviously, anyone with a sense of the market is going to maximize their value.
Right.
But the price is set by the buyer, right? So it's not buyer and the payer. Right?
They'll pay whatever they want.
Yeah, so it's not going to be cheaper. Of course, now shifting from a cheap cloud to access to the most valuable resource cloud, and that's a very powerful place to be versus just cheaper. Right? Cheaper, okay, how much you're spending? I mean, is it worth spending your time and energy to move? If you're saying millions of dollars, you'll move, but if you're saying $100, $200, you're not going to move from Amazon, right? It's not worth your time learning all that Akash.
Figure that out.
But if this is something that you don't have, it's a different story. You're going to do whatever it takes to get that. So we're shifting to that now. A nice to have to a necessity.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Nice seeing you again.
Yeah. Sorry.
Appreciate it.
Hope it was worth it.
Oh, yeah, of course.